how often do like super tall guys or super tall athletes in general get kind of babied because they're told like, oh, like you do
Your
this
femur length's so
because
long you can't
you
squat.
can't squat deep, like
How many times have
yeah,
you been at a gym, especially like us, when you're traveling or something, and you hit a big squat and you're pretty hyped about it, and some guy's like, "Yeah, I couldn't do that. I'm just too tall. I'm
right. It's
five
like
eight, man. I
okay,
hear that shit all the time."
yeah, it's not as simple as like, oh, like yes you can, but there is a road to get there.
Yeah,
It just may be
and
a
it's
little
like
bit tougher, and you might have to change the constraints a little bit, or change the loading parameters, or the modality, even the implement that you're using.
yeah, and I don't know. It's like that's like saying, "Well, you're 5'8", you'll never dunk." I can go up, grab a rim whenever I want because I just trained physical power output and rate of force development and jumping. It's a skill. You have to just train it. You can get there. I don't know. It's like for me, it's also kind of, obviously you can't change your height. Well, you can with surgeries now, but it's not the same as like someone's like overweight and being like, well, you'll just never be able to run because you're just overweight. Obviously, it's a little bit different because they can change weight, but like that's like just kind of defeating them in that purpose of like, no, you can like yeah, go for it. Like you can do it despite that, like versus looking at it and be like, because of that, I can never. You could still try. You might fail, but you'll learn something. Even at the very least, you'll learn something. And you might not get to the ultimate pinnacle goal, but you probably get around it if you just keep working at it. It's a skill, like you said.
Yeah. And then as far as like the compression versus expansion exercises,
I'm ignorant on that. I ain't gonna be able to answer that, dog. I'm ignorant.
yeah, I'm kind of similar. Like, I mean, just trying to think logically, like, I feel like most people I would say are more compressed just from lifestyle. Or
The
think of like, yeah, or I think of like a
the
baseball,
kyphosis of the shoulders.
right? Or like, I think in baseball, like a catcher, they're going to be more compressed because they're always like in the deep squat position. Or like a wrestler, they're going to be always kind of more like hunched over, stuff like that. So maybe
Versus
there's,
someone who does a ton of upright running is probably a little bit more expansion oriented. Like
yeah, I don't know how that plays into, I really don't know how that plays into
this is part of us
exercise
showing our
selection.
ass. Like
Yeah, like I honestly, dude, I need to look into it more. I don't have a very good idea. I would think that if someone is always in a compressed state, it may just make them feel better and be a little bit better for them to get them into do some more expanded exercises just to like keep them feeling good, and maybe vice versa, but I could be completely wrong on that too. Um,
yeah, my gut check thought is like people who are more a compressive type of athlete are probably going to be good at like the eccentric aspects of things and a little bit better on that where it's compressing or flexing versus like an expansion type athlete is probably going to be really good at extension, you know,
mhm.
which if you broaden it out and you look at it from a 10,000 point view, it's like the people who are really good at extending are typically the power athletes who in their sport have to be in like an expanded role of that diaphragm versus the compressive athletes are more compact, generally like are in that like compressed state in their sport, like a catcher or things like that, or a wrestler. So I think it's kind of like a chicken or the egg thing where it's like, are they really good at that because they were born that way and that's the way that they're anatomically set up, or are they that way and prone to being better at that because they've done so much of that skill-based work that has naturally put them into this kind of box.
Yeah. And I want
So
to know if ISA can change based on training. I think it can.
that's you have to like you look at like a rib cage. When you take a long, deep breath, like a box breathing type of thing, you have a massive expansion of that diaphragm, and the rib cage does expand because they're floating bones in a sense to where they do have like that lock, but like they have that float to where if you train a lot of the expansion and that extension, does that naturally then kind of push the needle on that like on that spectrum? Do they then float a little bit more towards the expansive type of athlete, so vice versa, in a compressive type of athlete? So
Yeah.
it might be a rabbit hole for us to chase one time on an episode for sure, or even just in our own time. But
Right.
at this point, I haven't put enough weight into ISA to dive deeper into it. My surface
Mhm.
level knowledge of learning it at conferences and reading a couple books and just kind of being like, I just don't think this is going to be very applicable. My thought is I wouldn't put too much weight into it. That could change.
Yeah, I agree. Good
Mhm.
question. Good to think about for sure.